Hello, hello, Globies. Welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. Can you guess where I am at? Well, let me tell you. I am at the storage unit. That's right, Teresa's storage unit. This is the lock. Yes, the lock and the door to her storage unit. I'm not going to show you things that would tell anyone watching this exactly where it's located for her privacy and safety. It was a roller coaster ride because we almost, the mission was almost aborted before we even got started. But I'm going to tell you what happened, how it happened. I'm going to show you clips from what I took yesterday, a before and after. Trust me, you're not going to believe that we were able to do this. I'll tell you this. When I opened the two sliding doors to the minivan, I thought, you know what, Carol, this time you have bit off more than you can chew. And I felt like just sitting down on the ground and weeping in despair. I don't feel that way very often. I'm a pretty resilient person. But when I saw that, I thought, this is hopeless. This is truly hopeless. But I'm here to tell you that hope springs eternal, and what I'm going to show you, just come along. First of all, I'm going to tell you about what happened, how it almost didn't happen. I'll show you clips, and then I'll show you the end result. Okay, well, this is how things almost went off the rails. We had agreed to meet on Thursday, and we did. The we being me, Teresa, and someone she knew who was going to help us pull everything out of her minivan, get it into the storage unit, and sort through it. Well, we were going to meet at a specific spot and then drive over to the storage unit. Something told me, though, before we met, don't rent the storage unit in advance. Wait and make sure she actually shows up, because there had been a problem about that in the past. Make sure she actually shows up. Make sure that she's willing to go forward with it, and things are going to go as planned before you spend the money for the storage unit. So we met, and there were 3 storage units that I had looked at in advance. And I showed her the information on these 3 storage units. The closest one was the closest one was the most expensive. And the one that she had to drive the furthest, that was further out, was the least expensive. So she wanted to use the one that was the closest. And I said, fine, it's okay. Let's pay the extra money if it's going to help get this facilitated. Well, as we're talking about it and I'm describing to her what we're going to do, her friend starts talking with her, and they're talking back and forth. And he was also there to help interpret. And he turned to me and he said, she said she's changed her mind. Now, honestly, I wasn't totally shocked, because reading the comments that you all were sending me about hoarding and hoarders and how difficult it could be to actually have someone follow through on getting rid of and sorting through their stuff, I had a better idea of what I might actually be dealing with. So I had anticipated this as a possibility. I was disappointed, I have to say, but it's not my place to impose my will on someone else. Even if what is going to be done for them would help them, even if it was going to accomplish getting a bed for her, which is something she wanted, a comfortable bed, I wasn't there to, I don't know, I wouldn't say bully, but to force an 82-year-old woman to do something against her will. So I explained to her acquaintance or her friend, I said, let her know I'm not here to try and make her do something she doesn't want to do. I'm not here to make her get rid of things she doesn't want to get rid of. The only way we can do this build, which I believe will benefit her, is to empty the van. But if she doesn't want to do it, we'll call it a day, and that's it. So they had some more back and forth conversation, back and forth. I could understand some of it. And he then turned to me and said, okay, she said, let's go ahead and do it. I was thinking, you know what? Let's get out of here as quickly as we can and get over to that storage unit, get it rented, and get this done, because I'm thinking any minute as we get in the middle of this, she's going to change her mind. But we got to the storage unit, we got it rented, and I'm going to show you what it looked like before. Actually, I didn't take the picture at the very start before we started unloading it because I was just so shocked. I had only looked at the van from being in the front area and, you know, looking back and doing a picture from the front. I had never seen it with the sliding doors opened because you couldn't open them because stuff would fall out. So I thought I understood just how packed this van was, but I was not prepared. I'm going to tell you for what I saw when I really opened it. And I'm going to show you pictures and a short video clip that I started recording after we had already taken a lot of stuff out. So here goes. This is a picture from the back of the van as we were starting. This is a picture after we had taken a few things out of the back of the van. Now you can tell from the pictures that when I looked from the front to the back, when I first started, you know, working with Teresa and decided to help her, I didn't realize that there were 2 rows of seats in there. There was so much stuff in there that it totally obscured your view or ability to see the seats. There was a middle row that had 2 seats, and then there was a back row that was a bench that could seat 3. You couldn't see that unless you opened up the back hatch, and you could see a little bit of the back bench, but the back was even stuffed so high that you couldn't see that very well, but you could tell it if you opened up the back. So that's what we were dealing with when we started out. When we first started out, this is what Teresa was willing to part with. A dead plant. But gradually we were able to get her to allow us to fill up a trash can as well as the dead plant. And we did fill up 1 additional trash bag. You all are probably saying, out of all of that, you threw away that 1 trash can and 1 trash bag? Hey, you know what? Rome wasn't built in a day. And if this experience hasn't taught me anything, it's taught me about taking baby steps. And that's what we're doing here. Baby steps. There were a number of suitcases and empty backpacks and that kind of thing. So what we were able to do is stuff a lot of the things into those empty bags and suitcases. And I'll show you a little bit about where we were when we were about at the halfway point. At this point, we had gotten, I'd say maybe roughly about half, if that much, out of the van. And we were putting the food in the back because we could not, they don't allow you to have food or bottles or cans of stuff with food or drink in the storage unit. And we're actually stuffing the bags and suitcases with some of the things to consolidate it down. But at this point, we had made a lot of progress because we could actually see the middle seats. Even though, you know, there's still a lot of stuff to go, and we could actually see the back bench seat. Before, you couldn't see any of this. So at this point, I realized, you know what? We're going to be able to do this. I realized, even though we had a lot more work in front of us, that we were actually going to be able to get this done. Once we could actually see the seats, I started to have some hope that we could actually accomplish what we had set out to do. But there was one point, there was like an Afghan or something that was over the back of the front seats, and it was hanging over. And after we had gotten a lot of stuff off the seats, I went to lift it up to put it actually into the front seat. And that's when I realized that it was covering a whole bunch of stuff that was all across the floor and up to the top of the back of the front seat. And I thought, oh my gosh. You know, I thought we've taken 2 steps forward and 5 steps back. And at this point, all I could do was say to myself, you can do this. You can do this. Just keep on going. You can do this. You can do it. Have you ever gotten into the middle of a situation and you're kind of too far in to go back, but you don't know if you can really finish going forward, and you have to start talking to yourself to convince yourself? Well, that's where I was at. And I was able to, with Teresa and with Jose, let me show you what we were able to do. This is Teresa sitting in the middle seats, which before you couldn't even see. Plus you can see the back seat was empty. This is the storage unit where we were able to put everything we unloaded from her van. Well, we still have a long ways to go, but I feel really encouraged by the progress we have made so far. You know, I'm a fixer, and sometimes I jump in heart first. And oh my goodness, I'm just glad that this is turning out okay. And I think it's going to be way more than okay. But I'll tell you something, I've learned a lot of lessons from this situation. And I've learned a lot from the comments that you have so graciously put on the various videos about this matter. But anyhow, stay tuned. We have more to come, and I will keep you posted and take you along with us each step of the way. Love each and every one of you. May your journeys be filled with joy and blessings. Till next time.